All right, we'll get started just in a minute here. Got everyone logged in. We are live on Facebook. All right, can you hear me okay? Can someone give me a nod?
We can hear you.
Are you
Okay,
recording?
perfect.
Record.
Yeah, we're good now because now we do Facebook Live. We don't have to record, but we get recorded automatically on Facebook. So yeah, thank you. All right, good afternoon, everybody. Hope everyone's doing well. My name is Rishu Mahalaha. I'm an economic advisor working on the GROW program. That stands for Growth in the Regional Ozarks. The program is really built to help support our many small rural communities in southern Missouri, and we have many of those communities on the call today. We are gathered today to speak to an amazing entrepreneur, and we've got a great story. Before I introduce our speaker, I just want to start by thanking our various chambers. I want to start by thanking Melissa Lensing from Hermann Chamber of Commerce. She's really responsible for inviting our speaker today. From Buffalo, I want to thank Tanya Watson. Tanya, thank you for all the work you do in Buffalo. Aaron Rohr in Eldon, and we have in Aurora Shannon Walker. So thank you to all the amazing chamber leaders who are an army of one and doing so much to support your local businesses. We thank you for everything you do. I want to take a minute to introduce and just show you a handful of tools that are available to you in your respective communities. One second. So we have a couple of tools that you should be aware of. One is a new platform that was recently built. It's called GROW Ozarks, GROW Ozarks.org. And here you can see all the work that's going on in our different GROW communities. You can see what projects are being worked on, who the leaders are. A great platform just to figure out how you can connect more into your respective communities. We also have a platform called Business 911. This is a platform, when you go here, click on Grow Missouri, and you will then be directed to a set of programs and resources that you can connect with in your local community if you're a small business owner. The event like today's, which is our business speaker event, you can click on the educational series, and all of our historical conversations we've had are all archived here. And we've got some really wonderful speakers, folks who've spoken about marketing expertise, accounting, technology, legal issues, HR issues. So a great list of speakers identified here. So certainly welcome you to take a look at that. We also have a place where you can look at local job openings, et cetera, et cetera. So a whole host of resources that are hopefully helpful to business owners that operate in many of our GROW communities. Now let me pause this. So let me introduce our speaker today. And if everyone else could just start turning off their video cameras, I sincerely appreciate it. So the business owner, his name is Mike Sloan. And the name of his business is Hermann Wurst Haus, and it's an incredible story. What we thought was particularly interesting about Mike is many of our small, mid-sized businesses in rural communities. Obviously, it's been a very challenging time with COVID, and so we were looking for stories from individuals, business owners, entrepreneurs who've been able to take their concepts and their ideas and their businesses and find new ways to build them so that they could thrive in this time of COVID. And it's amazing because Mike is a guy who's been at it pretty much all his life. He started working in his parents' food and meat processing business. And as he says, he tried to get away from it several times, but he keeps coming back to it and worked on for other people many years, and then finally decided that he was going to take a crack at it himself. So we're so glad, Mike, that you did. We're so glad that you have found and evolved into a new space where it sounds like the business is thriving. So welcome, Mike. We're so glad you're here.
Thank you.
We'd love to hear your story.
Well,
Yes, absolutely.
yeah. A little bit about myself. As you said, my name is Mike Sloan, and I've been in the meat and sausage business for about 54 years. And for 44 of those 54 years, I worked for someone else. And after working for someone else for 44 years, I thought that maybe I could do this. So in June of 2011, my wife, Lynette, we purchased a building in downtown Hermann, Missouri. And prior to buying the building that we bought, the building was vacant, of course, and it had been vacant for 5 years. So what we did is we got rid of all the spark plugs and fan belts and things I didn't think I was going to need to make sausage with. And we opened up September of 2011, and it was one of the highlights or one of the best things I've ever done besides getting married and having kids and grandkids.
Very cool. So what tell us about, it's always interesting to hear the journey of entrepreneurs. For you, Mike, what was that moment like when you said, I've had enough of working for others, I'm ready to do it on my own? Just kind of walk us through the mental psychology of that for you.
Well, after working for someone else for so many years and loving the job and wanting to continue that, and I had wanted to maybe purchase the business, and at that time the business was not going to be sold to me. So that's when I made the decision to leave my security at my job and go out on my own and start a new venture. And I've said this many times that when you are very secure in life, you kind of fall into that rut and not always knowing what the next curve is or the next hill is or the next direction. So I was kind of to that point, and I didn't want to be at that point. I wanted to be further along in my life and career. So that was the decision to leave. And when you leave a business that you've been with for so many years, it's twofold. It could be the best day of your life, and it could be the worst day of your life. And in Mike's situation, it was the same on the same day. The best day of my life and the worst day of my life. But as you move forward and, people will tell you that you're going to do well, and people give you confidence and so forth, and you gain confidence and you make strides and hard work, and then it all seems to work out, and it's worked out very well.
Interesting. So, so you've been, these decisions don't happen overnight. Obviously, you've been thinking about going into your own business for a while. You're working a job, and eventually decide you're gonna open your own place. So are you? I'm assuming you're a Hermann resident, and so you're looking for a space. How did the whole idea from your head to a physical space? How did it all come together?
Sure. So I grew up in Hermann, went to Hermann schools, and have been here most of my 62 years. So I was very familiar with the area. I was very familiar with the customer base. I was also very familiar with the attraction of Hermann, Missouri, as a tourist destination and also as a business destination. So that meant to me that that's where I wanted to stay. I felt like I had stronger roots here than I would be if I were to move somewhere else unknown and start a business. So I felt like that was very important to me, and I felt more comfortable doing that, although there were still a lot of unknowns. But I knew that I wanted to stay in this area. And I felt like I had something to contribute to the area, but I also felt like the area had a lot to contribute to the success or hopeful future success of the Wurst House.
Got it. So you take the leap, and you launch your business. Tell us about the first week and the first 6 months of opening your doors. What was that like?
The first day was scared to death, and we had a soft opening, and many people came in on the soft opening, and we had kind of a small celebration with the then mayor and some aldermen and folks of that sort welcoming us open on the first day. And on day one, my goal was to get to day two, which we accomplished. And it was very surreal. It was very scary, but it was fun at the same time, and it was very tiring. Uh, Up to that point, you're working day and night to get the place remodeled. The place that we bought, as I said, was an auto parts store. So we went through about 68 days of intense renovation on the building and accomplished all that. And when we opened up on September 1st in 2011, we were not actually prepared, but we were going to go ahead, and early on we shot for September 1st as an opening, and we did that. And even though we weren't quite ready, we got ready and proceeded on through Oktoberfest, which is a huge month for our business and many other businesses in downtown Hermann. And we wanted that shot in the arm early on in October. But I remember that when the welcome committee came in and they told us that, we're welcoming you to the community, and they were very heartfelt. And we said, well, we just wanted to be a contributor. And they said, no, we expect you to be an anchor. And when they told me that, that put some pressure on me, because I didn't want to be an anchor. I just wanted to be a participant to the Hermann economy. But here now, almost 10 years later, I think we've become a great destination and an anchor for the city and for the community and for ourselves.
Excellent. Good. All right. So you open your business. It's up and running. And so tell us about the journey, from that initial hesitancy, scary place, to getting your business established. Tell us about the journey from that day to late February, early March, as COVID's coming around. How has your business shifted and evolved, and what is your business? What all does it do?
So our journey started on September 1st, 2011. And I can tell you this, by 30 days later, my journey had shifted to a different gear. And so those first 30 days, my mindset changed, and it's continually changing. But those first 30 days is not what the business looks like now. We opened up with about 24 chairs. And I was going to be a small German deli, which we are. But those 24 chairs now have grown to about 145 chairs, inside and outside seating. So early on, the destination, the location, and you always hear location, 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 but that dictated a little bit about what I was going to do. Regardless of what I wanted to do, the location dictated what I was going to do. So we seen that and recognized that and became more of a German deli immediately. And what that meant was increased seating, sandwiches, plates, up until now. Now we got inside, outside seating, 145 chairs. But we started out very slow. We make 45 flavors of bratwurst. We make 12 flavors of bacon. We make 10 flavors of summer sausages. We also make 7 flavors of craft beer, 5 flavors of craft soda, and 2 flavors of craft wine. Now, all of our soda and our beer and our wines are made at a second location. I never intended to get into the beer business. I never intended to get into the soda business, but it was just an afterthought that if you were going to feed some people, you might as well have them drink something to go with what you're feeding them. And what better idea is to put your name, your brand on your soda or your beer or your products that we make. Even one of my beers that we make, which is a Wurstmeister wheat, we put my picture on the can, and that helps sells the business, helps sell the brand, and it helps sell myself to our customers.
Excellent. Yeah, that's some of those pictures look amazing. Okay, so you thought the business was going to be not quite as extensive on the deli side with seating and dining, and right away, 30 days after you launch your business, you realize that you have to change your business. So you add seating, business is doing well. You've added your own beers, beverages, various products, and then to tell us about when did you know something was going awry as COVID hits? What was the day when this happened?
So when COVID hit in early March of this year, or maybe late February, and we had just been, I mean, we were just busy. We were cranking it out. You know, even January, February, December of last year, just busy. And we were hoping to catch our breath. Well, when COVID hit, it gave us a chance to catch our breath. And I thought, well, this might be welcome for a few days. But then all of a sudden, it got worse. And the severity of it was that I found myself, and we're open 7 days a week. And I found myself at home on a Saturday noon in my recliner during the early days of COVID. And I thought, well, this is kind of nice. I'm at home in my recliner, Saturday noon. What's not to like about it? Well, that happened for more Saturdays than what I wanted it to happen, which goes against my DNA. And it got to the point where I can't stand my recliner anymore. So I felt like the severity of it, I understood, but I also understood I had to make a living, and my employees had to make a living, and we all have to pay our bills. And Saturdays was always our money day. And the streets were just empty. There was no cars, no traffic. And you look outside and you don't see anything. And you wonder, what is this world coming to? How long is this going to last? And then you ask yourself, are the people going to come back? So that was the big question. And I felt like at that point in time, I had to make an answer for myself. So in my mind, I tried to jumpstart something that worked for me. And that jumpstart was I stayed open on Saturdays past noon, and I started to sell a little bit of barbecue off of my front patio, knowing that the store was closed. I would not allow anybody in the store other than to use the facility, but I started selling barbecue off my front patio to folks who were maybe coming into town. And my inspiration behind that was when I was closing on Saturday, I would always go to the service station and fill up my car with gas and get a newspaper and go home and read my newspaper in my recliner. But when I was at the gas station filling up, I'd see so many people buying service station food that was probably not the kind of food that they were wanting to experience and have when they came to Hermann, Missouri. So I felt like it was worth a risk to jumpstart and see if I could capture some of those folks who were looking for something besides a gas station hot dog.
Got it. And so how long after? Do you remember the date? So early March is when your business starts to slow down. How long before you get back in and you start your counter services?
March was a dead month. April was a dead month. But what did happen in March and April was we always have been involved with mail order and shipping. So during the month of March, April, and May, and has continued on, our shipping, our mail order just went crazy. So what we did was we removed all the tables and chairs from our dining area, turned those tables and chairs upside down, removed them. And the dining area, which is a rather large area, became our shipping area because our shipping area was being outgrown. So we moved all of our shipping into the dining area. And we had an assembly line of people selling and taking phone orders and internet orders. And we were shipping coolers of meat throughout the United States. And that kept us very busy through April and May until we started to get a little more traffic coming into the city and a little more traffic in town of people walking throughout the town of Hermann. But the shipping throughout the nationwide was our savior, and it still is a big part of our business. But during the early months,
Yeah.
it just went crazy.
So Mike, what's a there seems to be a profound lesson there. So you have 2 or 3 parts of your business. You have shipping, you have retail, you have deli counter services, and I'm sure there's a handful of others. And there's a certain mix, 10% of your business here, 30 here, 70 here, whatever that mix looks like. And then all of a sudden dining goes away. Did it happen automatically that all of a sudden you start to see your mail orders go up, or were you driving that? Were you marketing it? Did you change your marketing strategy? How did the shift happen?
We've always tried to market ourselves as a Hermann destination, but then we've also have marketed ourselves as a shipping business that will ship product to you nationwide. In fact, we have large signage in the store that states that. We have a really nice online presence. So we've always have marketed that aspect of the business, and I have some background in that part of the business. So that was always in my mind that we need to do that. Now, having said that, I'm glad we started on that aspect of the business 9 years ago, because if you would have went from ground zero to starting overnight, you probably would not have been able to accomplish that process. So I felt like by putting ourselves out there 8 or 7, 9 years ago, that we were that far ahead. And if you keep on putting yourself out there, something will take hold. Well, it did take hold. And we have other groups thankful to do that. I mean, other businesses. But I think that trend will continue. And I think that those that are not doing that needs to be able to look at that, to be able to ship it and seal it and ship it out the door. I call that part of my sky business. But during the COVID part, our shipping probably accounted for about 40% of our business. Normally, we're about 10%. And I see spikes during Christmas and Mother's Day and Father's Day. I always see spikes. But right now, it has calmed down just a little bit because COVID has calmed down a little bit. But I don't see that going back down to 10% level. I think that's going to stay up into the 20% of shipping that we're doing right now. So I'm very, very thankful to have that education behind me and be able to do that.
So you had a good shipping business in place, not quite at the scale that you're doing now. So there's customers that are aware of it. You as a business, you have the processes, the people know what to do. How did you have to market it, or people just, because people weren't eating out as much, did it just automatically take hold, or did you have to drive the marketing, social media? Talk to me about the marketing.
We drove it through social media, through a newsletter, and we put out a monthly newsletter. And we're also very active with other avenues such as Facebook and TripAdvisor and Yelp and different things of that sort. And we also use a outside marketing company to help me establish all those goals. So we look at our goals, we create those goals. We also create our own database of customers that have had contact with us, either through in the store or signups for free giveaways. So we don't purchase mail emails. We do our own emails. And I have an outside company who they do very well for me because we track the results of those mailings.
Give us, we always want to plug in for other businesses that are helping the growth. So you put a plug in for your marketing firm.
So my marketing firm is two businesses. It's called My Business Integrated out of St. Peters, Missouri. Chris is his name. My Business Integrated. And then I have another individual who, Patty Held Marketing, helps and assists with my social media network. And those are both two great local businesses that helps get my word out. Things that
Mhm.
I'm not good at, they help me. Like I'm good at making sausage and bacon and summer sausage. They don't do that. They just buy it from me, but I buy their services from them. So it's a great process. And I would recommend that highly. But you have to be able to track that success. And it's like a chess game. When you make a move, you make a move and you keep moving forward.
Yeah, good. So, so this is great. So, one lesson I'm hearing you say is you've got to make sure that your business is diversified. You've got a couple of different things you're working on. Put yourself out there so that you never know what changes. We live in such a fluid world that things keep moving. So if you've got something else that's out there, it can become a bigger part of your business. So that's one important lesson.
That is
The other
correct.
part I'm hearing you say is hiring the experts. Hire the experts who can help you. You know, if your expertise is making sausage, stick to making sausage. Hire Patty or others who can help you figure out how to do marketing well. Can you share with us a tip on marketing that you didn't realize, 6-9 months ago, and now you're like, oh my God, this is huge. This is so helpful for us.
Absolutely. So I have always have had outdoor patio seating. And my outdoor patio seating was evolved around 15 or 18 chairs that sits outside on the front patio. When I put the little barbecue, homemade barbecue stand in the front of my building back in the early days of March and April, I had no idea. I was going to sell some pork steaks, some bratwurst, and some chicken or whatever. And I had people lined up and down the street, and they were eating my barbecue on both sides of the curb, and everybody was having a good time, socially maintaining distance. But I soon found out that there might be a demand for that. So what I did was instead of that little grill that I had, which was like an 18-inch Weber grill, it the marketing, it was kind of a research and development for me while I was having fun selling barbecue. So that told me that there's just something else here. So what that prompted me to do is to rehab my patio area. So folks now with COVID, they like to eat outside. They don't mind the bugs. They don't mind the mosquitoes. They don't mind the outside environment. They want to eat outside. So what we have done or in the process of doing is enhancing our outside patio area. We bought new tables and chairs, more comfortable tables and chairs. They're higher level, they're pub level. And we also have bought a bigger barbecue unit grill that will be inserted into the wall of the Wurst house with a indoor or a two-way operation so that folks can see the grilling taking place from the street level. So what that has prompted me to do is spend extra money to make that process happen. Also, we're putting a roof over the patio area. So at a time when I feel like at a time when a lot of businesses are closing or maybe cutting back, we're going the other way. We're going full steam ahead. And I want to be the full steam ahead, especially when this thing gets over with. I want to be in the position to make bigger strides once it's all comes and goes away. So we're going forward and we're going to increase our seating outside to about 35 or 40 chairs and have the rotisserie cooking going on outdoors. So if I wouldn't have done my research early on in April, I wouldn't have done this. I wouldn't have done what I'm doing now. But I see it as a huge, huge potential.
Got it. Great. So you've been doing your research, you're building your business, you're learning, and you're making investments. Now, when many businesses have struggled, you found a new way to evolve and adapt and really thrive. So what coming out of, I mean, we're still in the midst of COVID right now, but it does seem like things are calming down a little bit. What do you continue, how do you think about the next 2 years? How do you take what you've learned, and you don't know what the world looks like 2 years from now? Where will you make your investments, and where will you grow just to make sure that you've got your, bets covered? What do you do?
Yeah, that's a decision I struggle with every day because you watch and you try to listen of what's going on around you in the world, even locally and beyond locally, and you try to make those decisions. But in my case, I'm going to continue to, I think this is going to keep on for some period of time through 2020 into 2021. It's not going to go away real fast. It's going to go away slower than what it arrived. It arrived on the scene pretty fast, and it's going to go away much, much slower. So I think going forward, people are going to have to kind of slow down their pace. I think people will tend to continue, and out of every negative, there's always seems to be some positives. And out of all this negativity, there seems to be the positive that's let's shop local. Let's stay in town. Let's stay in the county. Let's stay and support our community. And I think that is going to be huge going forward. And we're seeing those numbers. I mean, we're seeing those people who shop locally. They want to know where their meat or where their source of food is coming from. And they like to look at the story. They like to talk to the person. In my store, in my business, when you come into the business, I'm probably going to be the first person you see, and I'm probably going to be the first person you talk to, because I try to make myself very visible, and I try to sell myself. And I have learned early on that I can sell myself over and over and over again. I know when I sell a pound of sausage, I gotta go make another pound of sausage. I gotta go grind it, season it, smoke it, package it, label it, whatever. But if I sell myself, I never get tired of selling myself. So I think as a business owner, being very, very visible during a trying time and having confidence of what you're doing and have confidence of what your business is doing to help people satisfy their fears, whatever fears they may have. Because when they come in, they don't know what's going on. They think they do, maybe they don't, but they want to experience a good experience, but it's got to be a safe and calm experience. So I try to do that every day with every customer. And I don't know if I achieve that, but that doesn't stop me from trying to achieve that.
Sure. That's great. That's powerful advice. So really making sure, I mean, obviously you want to sell your products and services, but as small business owners, it is your personal credibility, your personality, your enthusiasm for your product that's really going to ensure that customer, even on a day when they're like, no, we'll just stay home, we'll come out because they want to go see Mike and they want to get a pound of sausage from Mike. So that's a big part of what separates and differentiates small and mid-sized businesses that large businesses can't compete with. When you're going to buy sausage from a national manufacturer, I have no idea who made it, and I don't know the story, but at Hermann Wurst House, Mike is right there, and I can talk to him. So that's the beauty of small businesses that we like to advocate, and that's the beauty of small towns are people like Mike Sloan's of the world.
And that is, and my best days are when I'm so tired I can't talk no more to anybody else, that I'm so hoarse that I am done, and I drag myself to bed and I go right to sleep and I don't move throughout the night because I'm just too tired. Those are my best days. And those are the days when I know I probably have accomplished what I wanted to do in the morning. And I probably didn't. I don't touch at my business. I don't touch the cash register at all. I have many people who take money for me, but my goal is to engage the customer and get those customers to the cash register, and not only get them to the cash register. I want those customers to be happy they just spent money and they walk out the they walk out the front door with a smile. Now, if they walk out the door with a smile with a bag of goodies in their hand, they just spent some money with us and they're happy. I mean, now they're going to go back and tell some more people. And when they come back, they don't come back by themselves. They bring friends. So then the whole process starts all over again. But I think as business owners, I think it's so important for business owners to be out front and not in back, especially now with COVID, because everybody wants to know what's going on. Are you safe? Are you doing okay? And I hear that a lot. Are you doing okay? So yeah, we're doing fine. And the comments I hear, people would want to know, well, we're glad you're here. We're glad you're open. And then you comment, well, thank you for coming in.
Yeah, build a relationship, sure. I'd like to, in just a few minutes, go to each of our chamber leaders and have, it would be great if each one of you could pose a question. But before we do that, I do want to get into a little bit of a technical detail here. Your marketing advisor, Patty, put together some numbers for us, and I want to share these numbers, and I want, if you're able to sort of speak to some of this. I know marketing, sales, social media, it tends to be a really big mystery to many small businesses. Okay, Mike, could you comment on this? And I know Patty's on the line too. Certainly welcome Patty's comments here as well in terms of how she guided you. So Mike, you can start, and then if Patty feels comfortable, maybe she should jump in too.
And Patty, you jump in whenever you want to or can, okay? Are you there, Patty?
Yes, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay.
So on our website, we have a aggressive website that we change out every month with specials and updates and pop-ups. And in my world, I was always aggravated when I was on a website and something would pop up. But now that I'm doing it, I don't mind it so much. And so I appreciate having those pop-ups because it helps to sell our products. And Patty and her business and my integrated Chris at my business integrated helps make that happen. Patty, you want to comment on that any?
Yes. So if you could pull that slide back up. So, and I have an example of a pop-up on the website in the next slide too. If you want to, so the pop-up there, so like when someone first enters the website, that pop-up will pop up if they've not been to the website before. And so we can change that message. And so here we, this is when we were promoting, we'll do carry out, we have our meat market, you can do curbside pickup, delivery, etc. So whenever Mike, changed his parameters in the store, what he was doing, then we could change that pop-up on the website. Very effective. And if to learn more, of course, we would then link that to a blog post on the website that, we would keep information updated when we could. And then, so for a Facebook post, for instance, Mike is very big on promoting local and other local producers. So a lot of the pork and actually all the pork and beef that he buys is from local producers, which was fabulous. So in our Facebook post, we would say from Bear Valley Farms just across the river. And the interaction on those type of posts just went crazy because people love to support local. And so here is another example of the pop-up on our website right now. And it talked about shipping. And UPS had a challenge, of course, this summer. They couldn't keep up, so we had to reduce where we were shipping. But then in the pop-up, when we started shipping to more states, then we could change that pop-up. Very effective. And also, if we weren't shipping to their state, they could sign up to be notified when we resumed shipping to that state. So again, very, very effective using your website to work for you.
Very cool. Patty, while you're on, I know just because marketing tends to be such a big topic, any other points you want to highlight about how Mike and his business have been able to thrive and how they use marketing as a strategy to get more customers, to engage with the business?
Absolutely. Could you pull that slide back up that listed how we got the word out. So email marketing is huge. And, many people think that it's dead, but it is not, because in a time like this, if you have an email database, which we collected those subscribers in the store or they signed up online. So that email list of 9,500 subscribers, that is gold, because they've been to your store or they're interested in you. And our open rate is, it's probably 20 to 25%, which is very good. And so that's also how we let our customers know, what the hours were, what the store was doing, any specials, the beef and pork bundles, which was huge. And then following that, of course, with social media, and Facebook really is where everybody is. So that's where you need to be. And keeping your post positive, thanking your customers for their patience and for their business. And then, driving home that buy local, support local, because, we're using local meats. And then digital marketing, which, and everybody can do this if they, have their Google My Business account. And this is free, creating Google posts with your business updates, dates, and your specials, that when someone's searching for you, it's out there online. And I think that's something that most businesses might not be doing. But that's, Google that and figure out how to do it. But it's amazing. So I would create those Google posts weekly if there were specials or hours changes, things of that nature. And then, with the digital marketing company that we work with, My Business Integrated, keeping online directories and review sites updated with your content, with your information, what you're doing during COVID, your hours, if your menu changed, things like that, because that's where everyone was. They were online. They were searching, they were commenting, they were posting reviews, and you have to monitor that constantly.
That's great.
We should just add to that, in my previous life, one thing that I did not do much of was social media marketing. And when I started my own business, I felt like that was one area where I really was missing the boat. And knowing what my expertise was not that area. And that's why I went out and hired someone to help me accomplish that. And the results have been unreal. It got me further along in my planning and income than what I had figured possible. And so when you see the results, you realize that, okay, maybe you're not good at this. You're good at something else, and we can't, as much as we all want to be good at everything, we're not, and we never will be. So you hire those folks who have an understanding of what you want to do and where you go, and they become accountable to you, and they make that happen. And I have seen that over and over again with folks who come into the store. They actually know me and see me by name and birthday before they even come into my store. I don't know if that's good, bad, or ugly, but they seem to want to know you and see you. And so it all works out very well.
Awesome. Great. Well, thank you, Patty. And Melissa and Mike, what would be great is please feel free to put in the contact information of Patty's business, your technology, your IT company. We want to get more business to your small businesses. That's our goal. Okay, so I want to open it up to some questions. I think Shannon may have dropped off, but if you're there still, Shannon, why don't you start first? I know you need to drop off shortly. Do you want to fire off a question real quick?
I will surely be happy to do that, but yes, I do have to leave pretty quickly. So one of the questions that we had here from Aurora was, how much of your business is local versus statewide versus regional? And when it comes to the local part, on your online and different things, do you really target your local family and customers, or do you rely on word of mouth mainly?
On my local side, probably about 30% of my business is local. And that 30% local is either walk-in or mail order, because folks who are local will use my mail order to have products shipped to their relatives in Colorado or Wyoming or California or Washington State. So I think that's a great thing because they want to sell something that has a Hermann name on it, a Hermann brand. And part of the whole message is branding your product, branding your company. And in my case, you know, I put the name Hermann in my business because I thought that was a $1 million name, Hermann, and it is. So
It
it was
is.
important to do that. And so that was one of the best decisions I made was the Hermann Wurst House. Wurst House could have gone another direction because Wurst means sausage,
Yeah.
but it was kind of a, you know, it was kind of a movement. So we went with that. So about 30% is on the local side. Nationally, you know, I probably spend maybe 20% of my mail order is outside of the local. And then my walk-in base is just huge. Uh, Usually Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. Sometimes it's a line to get into the store, and I'm okay with that. We
Yeah.
we have implemented since COVID. We've implemented bouncers at the door. I mean, they're not alcohol bouncers. They're just people bouncers. You know, so many people in, so many out, and so that seems to work okay.
Yeah,
Did
that's
that answer
awesome.
all your question?
It sure did. I do have one other question, just because I was looking at your website. I see that for 2021, you're going to be having classes.
Yes.
Is that something that you've done in the past, or is that a totally new situation?
That is not a new situation. I've been teaching classes for about 8 or 9 years.
Wow.
And what happened was early on in February of 2012, this was a few months after I had opened. And in February of 2012, after I had opened, I thought I was going to starve. So I started offering classes, in-store classes. And my first class was a sellout. And the item or the motive behind my classes was this, that many people like to make sausage at home. And if it turns out, it turns out. If it doesn't turn out, they need to change something. So when you change something, you should only change one thing at a time. So what will happen is they'll either make a lot of bad sausage or just lose interest. So by taking my sausage classes, you go right from zero to hero. So my classes are a sellout. They revolve around Wurst 101, and then I added a bacon 101, then I added a summer sausage 101, and then I added a whole hog butchery. So all my classes are sell out. They're 2.5 hours of instruction. They get a couple of pounds of sausage or bacon that we make in class to take home with them. They get a wine Wurst beer sample taste testing. They get a free meal, or not a free meal, but a meal, 10% off on all purchases, and a Wurst House goodie bag. So for 2019, man, my classes, and I do these classes in January, February, March, April, when the snow is flying. Baseball season is over. Football season's almost over. It's a Saturday afternoon, 10 o'clock or 2 o'clock. And it was a way to get people into my store. It was also a way for me to gain more customers. And we track those customers and those people who have taken my classes over the last 9 years. And one time, I know I had like 6,000 people. Those 6,000 people that have taken my classes are my best customers. We track them because they've been inside the building, they've been behind the back doors, they've made sausage with me, or they've made bacon with me. Now in 2019, I've had to cancel some of those classes, but going forward in 2021, I got those dates out there and people are signing up now.
That is awesome. What a great way to promote your business.
And it's a lot of fun.
Very neat.
Thank you for that
Thanks,
question.
Shannon.
You're welcome.
Tanya, thoughts from you?
Hi, thank you for participating in our speaker series. We greatly appreciate it. One question I have for you is, so in this whole process of adapting and changing, what's your biggest takeaway, and what would be your biggest piece of advice for a business that's wanting to figure out how to adapt and change with this time?
You know, I think my biggest advice would be to watch what's going on around you. And every business is going to be just a little different as to what you sell, whether it's a product or a service. But I think what you have to do is create an openness of your mind and not be afraid to go forward with an idea or to create something. Sometimes when you create an idea, it's not always, the end product isn't always the same, but it will always seem to go in a direction that maybe you weren't looking at. And all of a sudden, it's like, wow, that creates another opportunity. So when you create opportunities, it creates more opportunities. And it's not always the one you wanted. I'm not doing what I wanted to right now 9 years ago. I'm doing what I like. I like what I'm doing, but that wasn't what I was meant to be 9 years ago. I mean, a lot of things have changed. So I think going forward, you got to look at all this and figure out kind of where you can create your niche. And this is I mean, you hear this all the time, but your niche and your destination. And you have to evolve around making something happen. Just like when I put the barbecue grill out on the front street of my business, and I had no business being out there, but it created something. And now that something is more work. All of a sudden I got more work. Who'd have thought? So I don't know that I needed more work, but I'm welcoming the more work.
Oh, that's awesome. One other thing is, you had mentioned your advertising and stuff. Did you consult with someone to get your advertising plan in place, or is that just something you guys kind of played around with? And
Both. Before I went out onto my own business, I had talked to other support individuals in my business, in the meat processing business. I have a network of meat processors that I know all over the country through trade organizations and things of that sort. So I have a background of people that I've developed relationships with, and you always bounce ideas off of those people who have like-minded business or just advice. And one of the advice that was given to me was, when I start a new business, will people find me? And how do I make that happen? And the answer was, of course, they're going to come to you once they find you. So what was the quickest, easiest, fastest way for people to find me? And that was to put yourself out there on the map, put yourself out there socially and digitally, but also create things to make it newsworthy. So we try to have events or we participate in a lot of competitions throughout the United States and also internationally in Germany. And so we try to create events, or we try to create information that is newsworthy. And that seems to help get the message out there of who we are, what we want to do, and where we're going. So I think you have to be in control of your destination a little bit, and you have to put yourself out there and make sure it's good news and not be afraid to do that.
that's
Wise
awesome.
words.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tanya. Aaron, are you able to, I don't know if you have any thoughts or comments, or any comments coming through on the various Facebook sites? And Aaron, you're muted right now, just in case you do have a question and you're trying to speak. And while Aaron is organizing the technology piece, we've got Melissa and Herman as well, which maybe, there we go, right behind Mike. Any questions, Melissa, you have, or anything else you want to add about Mike or the business, or put a plug in for Herman while you're at it?
Well, to say that it's a proud day for Herman is very much an understatement. I could listen to Mike talk about his business all day long. So um, we're proud to have him as a chamber member, longtime chamber member since the beginning of his reign in Herman. And there's so much happening in Herman right now. You know, yes, there's COVID, but our businesses have stepped up. They've all made tough decisions so that business could continue in Herman. We have been very, very fortunate that our vendors still want to come here, and a lot of them have made decisions to come here because no sporting events, no concerts, their vacations have been canceled, and we're getting ready to go into our busiest season, a beautiful season with the colors changing, and we make an incredible option for couples, for families to come. And Herman House is just it's a destination inside a much bigger destination. And with the wineries and distilleries, we have over 130 places for you to stay with incredible accommodations from every amenity you could possibly want. So we're very proud of our community. We love that people love coming to Herman. We're here for you. We will take care of you to the best of our ability. Our businesses are open for you, and we're thankful for the opportunity to share our story today.
That's wonderful. Thank you, Melissa, for inviting Mike to join us. I want to open it up one more time. Any other questions that are out there that we may not have touched on? Anyone else have any questions? On the screen, you will see the information for the business, for Herman. We hope you can be a patron of Herman Wurst House. I know I'm a 90% vegetarian and 10% I eat delicious meat. So you, Mike, you'll be getting an order from me in the next 24 hours, and I'm very excited.
Good.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
I do have one last request of folks that are on the call, which is, 1 second, I'll just figure this out. If folks wouldn't mind, if you can give us your feedback. So here is 1 second. Here is our speaker series. We've got some wonderful speakers coming up. Next month we'll have a conversation with the folks at the Better Business Bureau, and they'll be talking about how to deliver great customer service. And also on the right of your screen, you'll see an area where you can give us some feedback. How did today's conversation go? Was it helpful? Is there anything we could be doing to make these conversations more helpful to you, to your business, to your community? These are certainly challenging times, but it's wonderful to hear stories from folks like Mike and stories from Herman, stories of how people are evolving their businesses. And we appreciate your time, Mike. Thank you so much for joining us, and
You're welcome.
And we're so thankful for all that you do.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. We will chat again in a month. Thank you so much for your time. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
So there.